Lemus, soy estudiante del Doctorado en Educación con TAC en Entornos Virtuales de la Universidad IEXPRO. Y en el siguiente video vamos a explorar el uso de videos en 360 grados en la plataforma Google Arts and Culture. Les voy a mostrar en un momento, voy a compartir pantalla para explorar cómo se utiliza esta plataforma. Ya tengo de hecho aquí una ventana lista. Esta plataforma es muy interesante porque nos permite tener varias aplicaciones dentro de clase. Ok, ya se debe de estar viendo. Listo. A ver, así se ve mejor. Muy bien. Bueno, pues ya exploré un par de videos. Yo, en mi caso particular, yo me desempeño en el área de la enseñanza de inglés. Entonces, estuve buscando en esta plataforma algunos videos que se adaptaban mejor a lo que yo podría utilizar en clase y me encontré un par de opciones. Esta primera que voy a mostrar, la primera que voy a mostrar es un video sobre moda que precisamente se puede utilizar en clases en las que se vaya a dar algo sobre precisamente temas de moda, de personajes, entre otros. Entonces vamos a explorar cómo se ve. Activando los subtítulos en español.
There are so many lessons I could pass on.
The thing about fashion is if it's what you want to do,
You have to have a passion for fashion.
Fashion actually is about self-expression.
I love dressing up. I love the whole fantasy.
A sort of a tribal who we are.
Colors, textures, frills, lace.
Fashion will always fashion. Fashion is
The
style.
joy of seeing all those lovely materials and textures and shapes.
The energy. I just love about it being live.
if it's in your blood, you will do it.
Fashion, if it's right, has to truly overwhelm you. It has to be so brilliant, so right, that I used to feel it within me.
But you have to start with what you care about, and what I care about is beautiful leather goods. I still get really excited about the idea of a new beautiful handbag. You can end up with a completely different design depending on how you actually approach really the small details, from the way things are lined or backed or stitched or held together.
My mother was a seamstress, so she would spend days on end making beautiful sort of African clothes. But the more I sat and watched her work, I realized, oh my God, this is such a great way of expressing yourself.
A model needs nowadays, and I think always, personality, strength, perseverance. You've got to have some strength. Like, just sitting in front of a camera doesn't do it. It's got to be something that comes from within.
When I see something that is different, and it's got to be different, it's got to be a signature of that person that's designing it. It's got to be part of them.
Styling is so personal. It starts with a story in my head, the sense of a character. I have to feel someone, a story I want to tell, and then everything else flows from there.
It's funny, Britain does seem to produce consistently strong creative talent, and I see it a lot with the people I work with and all around us, and it's really exciting.
There's things that you find in London that you do not find anywhere, and people just, I don't know, people just take that risk here in London, and they just do it, and they keep their integrity of who they are and what they want to do, and they don't break it.
It's quite individual. I think that's what we have a reputation for, that individuality. I went to the student shows because that's where you discover the talent, the real raw talent.
I never gave up. I never took no for an answer. If I called someone, 20 times for an interview and they wouldn't give it to ID, but they gave it to the face, I still wouldn't give up. And making mistakes is the only way you learn. There's no other way.
When someone says to you, no, you're not right in the modeling, you think, oh, it's me. You can't take it that way. You have to be like, okay, next, that wasn't for me, it's for someone else. Something better is coming along.
The fact is, if you take that first step, You've got so many doors that open up to you. You just have to play the music, not listen to the critics, and do your thing. And I think if you do, then it's authentic, it's true to what you do. So I would just say do it, follow your dreams, and it's amazing what comes from it.
Do your research, as John Galliano always did. Look into history, get ideas, but make those ideas your own. Look forward, because that's the future. The future can be yours.
British fashion. Está muy interesante. Sí, por ejemplo, con este video, hacer preguntas sobre qué dijo cada persona. Está muy padre porque también se escucha, por ejemplo, se sugiere el uso de audífonos. Se sugiere el uso de audífonos porque también al momento de estar viendo, se escucha por la izquierda o por la derecha y ya vemos para qué lado hay que darle vuelta con el mouse. Está muy padre. Bueno, el siguiente video que vamos a explorar es este del kinescopio en 360 grados para ver un poco sobre lo que es el cine. Este video está muy padre porque además soporta 3D anaglífico, que quiere decir que es con lentes 3D. Entonces, lo voy a poner y en un momento voy a encenderlo con 3D. A lo mejor se va a ver medio distorsionado cuando esté así, pero si ustedes tienen lentes también, si se ponen, van a poder ver en 3D la imagen. Ahorita voy a probarlo. Es un buen pretexto para usar estos. Está larguito, a lo mejor no lo vemos todo. Depende si me gusta.
A long, long time ago, I grew up in a magician's workshop in Paris. His name was George Milius. He was an extraordinary man, a man with a mischievous spirit. His desire to fill life with wonder was so strong that one day he offered me the moon. And then he died, alone and forgotten. I was an orphan, and a tramp took me in. A nice fellow, an exile, a damn talented kid. That guy had two real friends in life, Harold and Buster. I really worshiped those three. Without them, I know I wouldn't have become what I was and what I am. They prepared me to confront my fears. They even taught me how to take pleasure in them. I liked being afraid. Thanks to them, beasts and monsters fascinated me more than they frightened me. I never forgot what the old Parisian magician told me.
Take a bite of this apple.
Never destroy the child inside you.
Yes, take a bite.
That's your most precious treasure.
I feel so strange.
Time to pick up the sword, Wart. Whoa! Well done, Wart.
Let's go, Merlin.
How did you escape?
Oh, but I couldn't. They chucked me into firewood. Oh, my nose. What's going on?
Maybe I silly to me earlier, Pinocchio.
When I grew up, I started traveling far and wide throughout the West, the far West. I loved dragging myself around in stagecoaches until we were held up by a really wild bunch, wackos for weapons. So then I headed northwest. But it was nuts up there too, kamikaze style. You know the genre? Anyway, in a frenzy, I hit the road for Oregon. That's where I met Alfred. He was living in an isolated motel beside a road, surrounded by strange birds. Frankly, the guy was a little shady. One evening before dinner, his nephew showed up, a turbulent kid, a real truant. I liked Alfred, but he freaked me out. So one morning I skipped town with Stanley, a real genius one, though he actually freaked me out too. We spent our time at the Korova Milk Bar, downing molokos with his roogs, which really makes up your Razaduk and gets you ready to go a little berserk. Then one day, Stanley and I ran into this big guy, went by Sergio. With him, time stretched, and stretched like gum that ends up snapping back into your face. After that, I finally left the West to go to the big city, the one and only. And of course, I met a happy flock of freaks there, too. A crackpot cabbie, some totally strung-out ghost hunters, a man who was that, a gangster in a tux, and a very edgy boxer, the Bronx Bull they called him. I've always dreamt 12 rounds between him and the short guy from Philly, the one with the eye of the tiger. What's obvious is that neither one of them could have gone up against my Japanese warriors.
Okay.
Their swords are fearsome, and even more when it's a woman who uses them.
Para que
It
se
was
vea en
thanks to
3D.
her that I ended up back on the West Coast. I was already old, but I was crazy about that girl. She introduced me to bowling, made me read comic book detective stories, and had me drive the hairpin turns in the hills above Los Angeles. And that's also where I ran
Es un
into
efecto
Jean-Luc
que hace con los colores.
thanks to a kid who was a fan, a raving madman. At
Nada
the
más ahí.
Garmar Theater, I spent whole nights with Quentin. We delved into my old memories of Jean-Luc, of course, but not only. I saw my life pass before me, and
Mira.
there was old Orson and his sled, Humphrey in his trench coat, Reverend Powell and his tattoos, John and his can, Moses and his tablets.
Es un video
My
especial.
uncles were
Video en
there too with their
360
guns.
grados.
And look, over there, there's Frederico and his fountain. There was also Lawrence and his camels, Rosemary and her newborn, and I remember the beach and that shark, the Jedi and his Vader, Jack and his Nightmare Christmas, and even a few Navi from Pandora. I'm tired now sometimes. I've experienced so much. I'm old.
Se siente
Some
medio
people say
raro.
I'm already
Ahora te
dead.
veo a ti raro.
Yet I have the sweet impression that my life just keeps going back to the
Sí, ese
future.
padre.
The
Don't
church?
you agree, Marty?
Friday the 3rd. Part 3.
Está muy bonito. Estoy en grabación. Ok, vamos a ver. Muy bien, bueno, pues ya terminamos de ver este otro video y la verdad también está muy bonito. El efecto con los lentes 3D también está muy bueno, muy inmersivo. Así que, pues sí, por ejemplo, este video se puede aplicar, por ejemplo, en una clase de donde se hable sobre cine, sobre historia del cine, ¿verdad? Hacer una reseña o algo similar. Pues muy bien. Está muy, muy padre esta opción de los videos en 360 grados. Así que lo recomiendo ampliamente, ¿verdad? Y pues bueno, voy a continuar haciendo mi actividad para entregarla. Muchas gracias. Hasta la próxima.